Hello, middle school scholars, and welcome to your lesson for today, which is Wednesday, April 29th. We're going to dig in right away to get you ready for your flat assignment today. So before we actually look into Google Classroom and look into flat, we're just going to review a couple things. Last week, we were talking about musical affect. Now, just remember that a musical affect is how a song makes you feel, just like how you describe feeling words in your ELA class. We use the same thing for music, and we call those musical affect. So this resource right here is going to be available for you on your PowerPoint. When you think about when you do your composition today, how do you want it to feel? What's the affect? Do you want it to feel anxious? Do you want it to feel tender? Maybe you want it to feel hostile. What are you going to do to make your composition sound that way? One of the things that helps us make our composition sound a certain way is using tempo and using our dynamics. The tempo and dynamics dramatically change how a song sounds. The same song at a piano dynamic will sound completely different at a fortissimo dynamic. Same thing. If you have a song that's going prestissimo at a very fast tempo, but all of a sudden the same song is played at a lento or largo tempo, that song will have a completely different affect. So here's one example. If I wanted a song that sounded peaceful, and a couple of you chose that for your affect last week, I think I probably would choose a tempo, maybe like andante or adagio, that slow, stately pace to make it feel peaceful. And I think maybe like a mezzo piano or softer. That would be some examples. These dynamic markings and tempo markings are, again, in your PowerPoint attached to this video. Now, something that I just want to remind you guys that we're going to be doing new this week is this idea of melodic direction. So we remember from our classes after Christmas that pitch is how high or low a note is, how high or low it sounds, where melody is that combination of pitches. When you put the pitches together, it gets that part you can hum. And when we're looking at a music staff, melody can move in an upward or a downward direction. So here's two examples. If I'm looking at this melody and I was trying to decide if the melody goes up or down, I can simply think about, if I am connecting the dots from one to the other, is it going up or is it going down? And I would say it would start here, and this would be an upward melodic direction. I want you, please, to go ahead and pause the video and answer to yourself, what is this melodic direction? Is this an upward or a downward melodic direction? Remember, just like when you read, you start from left to right. Please pause the video and make that decision for yourself. Hopefully you said this was a downward direction. So we start at the top and our melody, our pitches move downward. Now this is just a quick review for you. You can use this as you're doing your assignment, but a reminder that the lines and spaces on your staff tell you the note names. So when I am referencing these today, just know that when I say, okay, that's on G, then I'm looking here, because depending on if a note is on a line or a space, tells you the name of that pitch or that note, okay? So if we wanted to do an upward direction, we probably wouldn't start at the bottom of the staff. We would start at the bottom of the staff and go up. If we want to do a downward direction, we have to start at the top of the staff and go back down, okay? All right, let's look at your checklist for today, and then we're going to dig into your flat assignment. So you're going to watch today's instructional video, which you already did, good for you. You're going to complete your melody number 1 in flat. Now you're going to make sure that your composition matches these instructions I'm going to give you, and also your chosen musical affect. And then a reminder that we have our office hour tomorrow from 9 to 10 a.m. So if you need to ask me any questions about your assignment, let me know, and you can log in and just click on the link for that tomorrow. And as always, my number is here. So we're going to come back to that, but let's go ahead and dig in now into our assignment for flat. So you may have already noticed that your Google Classroom looks a lot different this week. Miss Smartwick and Mr. Collier and I decided that it would be best if we organized your assignments by day. So all you have to do is go in, and today's Wednesday, Underneath Wednesday, you probably see a gym assignment and a Word of God assignment. Let's go ahead and talk about your music assignments. You're going to see 3 things from me. The first thing is this watch first. You will see the video here and also your PowerPoint from today to use it as a reference. Underneath melody number 1, picture example, if you click on this, this is the example that you're going to work off today. You can access this here in Google Classroom, or I'm going to show you how to access it in your flat. But let's go ahead and let's go to flat. So our directions say you're going to watch today's instructional video. Awesome. Copy the hip hop drum set line from melody 1 example score, and that's this example score up here. Write your own melody in the pan flute line. Note, each measure should have a different melodic direction. Okay, I gotta remember that. Each measure has to have a different melodic direction. And then I'm gonna pick my tempo and dynamic to match my musical affect. So let's get started. I'm gonna click on my flat. I will start with having my example. And unfortunately, my flat's moving pretty slow today. A reminder to you that this is just the example. You may not turn this in. If you do turn this in, then you're going to get a 0 on your assignment because this is not the work. You need to make sure that you actually finish and you do the pan flute part. So this is my example. I'm going to have this pulled up. Or if I want to, I can pull it up here on my picture example. It's the same thing. So please go ahead and pause the video and make sure that you have your melody number 1 example pulled up, and then unpause when you have that. Go ahead. All right, I've got that pulled up one time. And I'm going to go back here. I'm going to click it again. I'll get my error message that says, oh, hang on, you actually already have this open. And when that's the case, I'm just going to go ahead and I am going to hit go to library. When I get to my library, I will see in the top left-hand corner that it says my classes, so I'll go there. And then I'm going to find my class, and my class is the example class. What you'll notice, which is super important for this example, is that I have 2 tabs pulled up. I have my melody number 1 example tab, and I have my flat tab. And I'm going to reload this because, like I said, my flat's been really slow today. Thanks for being patient with me. This is probably a good time if you want to. You can pause the video and make sure you have both these pulled up as well. Okay, so fortunately right here I have my example class. So if you didn't pause the video, do that now and make sure you have both tabs pulled up. Go ahead and do that. Great, so let's go ahead. I'm going to go right here. And you're going to have a button that says start this assignment. Now, I don't have that button because I'm in the teacher mode, but you will hit start the assignment. You'll see your directions again, and then you'll hit start the assignment. And I'm super sorry this is taking a while. This is pretty frustrating. Okay, so you'll go ahead and you'll click on melody number 1, and then you'll hit start the assignment. So when you hit start assignment, it's going to go ahead and ask you to pick your instrument. So if you click right here on melody number 1, then it's going to take you back to this, which you already have. So you don't want that. You want to click start assignment, which is down here. Now, again, because I'm in teacher mode, I don't have start assignment. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a new score. You're not doing this. You'll hit new assignment. And when you hit new assignment, or start assignment, I should say, it's going to ask you to name it. So you'll put your name in there. And then you'll hit continue. Now let's look over. Looks like I need a pan flute and I need the hip hop set. So I'm going to do pan flute first. Pan flute is underneath woodwind, the bottom. And then your hip hop set is going to be underneath percussion. It's the second one. And then I'll hit create. So I'm completely ready to go when I have my melody number 1 example pulled up and I have my pan flute hip hop set, my own individual one, ready to go. Please now pause the video and make sure you have your score set up. Go ahead. All right, so in my directions, I had to copy the hip hop drum set from melody number 1. So I look over here and it looks like I'm on the 1, 2, 3, the 4th space. and the 1-2 second line, and it goes back and forth. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. The cool thing about this hip hop set is that they actually are pitched. So the different spaces in line make a different sound. And I think you're really going to like it. In fact, we're going to do a little bit more with hip hop set, I think, next week. Now I've got the same thing, space to line, but now I've got 2 eighth notes. So I'm going to change that. So put my quarter note down to my 2 eighth notes here. And then I'll do another quarter note. And then it looks like, yep, I end on that line again. Here's a little trick for you. These first 2 measures are the same as the next 2 measures. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go in my score. I'll click on the first one. I'll hold down Shift. I'll hit copy. And then I'm going to paste it right in there. Great. Now, you're going to finish off by adding this last line here on the bottom. I'm going to copy and paste this just so that it goes a little faster. You won't be able to do this, but you'll just copy this in. So let's go ahead. I'll delete that. Let's go ahead now, and we're going to, something got a little funky. Hang on one second. Let's undo that. I know, I need to make sure I'm here. Okay, and I paste it. Cool. So I have this extra measure. I want to get rid of that, so I'll subtract that. And now I did number 2, copy the hip hop drum set from melody number 1, example score. Now I'm going to write your own melody in the pan flute line. Each measure should have a different melodic direction. So remember, each measure is separated by bar lines. So if in my first measure, I'm going to decide that I want an upward melodic direction. So I'll just do quarter notes, and I'm going to be going up. Great, that's an upward one. My next measure has to have a different melodic direction, and I think I'm going to choose some eighth notes. So I went up in my first, and now I'm going to go down. And now I think I want a quarter note. I went up and down. I got to go back up again. I can use different lines and spaces as long as my melody goes up and down. And now I think I want a half note. I'm just trying different things. You can absolutely mess around with what you think works best for you. And then let's see. I think I'll do some eighth notes going down. And I want to end way down here. Cool. So let's double check. I went up, and back down. So I do not want you to copy and paste this to your next one, but I don't want you to sit here and have to watch me. So I'll just copy and paste that in. And again, I got this extra annoying measure, so I'll subtract that. Cool. So now let's see. I copied the hip hop drum set. Then I wrote my own melody with one measure going up and the next measure going down, one going up and one going down. Please pause the video and compose your own melody in the pan flute section and come back when you're done. Let's take a listen to this. Before I do that, actually, I want to think about my next direction, which is pick your own tempo and dynamics to match your musical affect. So I'm going to go back into our PowerPoint, which again is linked in your video. And I think today I want my musical affect. I want it to feel free. I want it to feel free today. Free may be a little playful. So I'm going to make that so that in order to get that free affect, I'm going to go ahead and I think I would like my tempo to be like a presto tempo. I think that would get that free, exciting feeling. So my presto tempo, it looks like for presto, I need to be 168 beats or more. Yikes. Well, I don't think I want to go much faster than 168, so I'll put 168. And then for my dynamic to feel free, let's start piano, and maybe we're going to do a forte at the end. Actually, I'm so sorry. Piano here. And then we'll do a forte here. And then what I would like to do is I'm going to do a crescendo all the way from the piano to the forte. And then I think I'm going to do that one more time down here. Piano and forte. I'm hoping it's going to get that free feeling because the crescendo is going to go make the music louder as we go. All right, let me take a listen and see what I think. Oh, that got a little bit too long. Okay, here we go. It's definitely a different kind of sounding song, but it definitely felt free to me, and I like how that sounds. So let's look. I copied the hip hop drum set line. I wrote my own melody in the pan flute line, making sure that each measure had a different melodic direction. First measure going up, second measure going down, and then opposite. And then I picked my own tempo to match that free affect. It's important that you know what your musical affect is because we're going to be talking about that on Friday. Let's go back to our checklist and then we'll wrap up for today. You watched the video. Hopefully you completed your melody number 1. Remember that your office hour is tomorrow, and if you have any questions, you can go ahead and text me. Have an awesome day, and I will talk to you tomorrow.